welcome back to school. I hope you had a good summer. And for me, I had a very busy summer. I didn't go anywhere else. I was surprised that the school administrator are even busier during the summer, which was very different knowledge that I had. So thank you for working hard during the summer, Dr. Cirillo, Mr. Kondowski, and me too. So, and I'm great to see you all back. And also that's back to school night. I was going to ask you to as well too. That
Yes.
is going to be tomorrow. Right?
Tomorrow is the high school, I believe. We've had the other two buildings already.
Right. And then also thank you for all the any staffs and students and parents who participated in town's 125th anniversary events dated on September 14th. And it was great to see the students sing the song, and it's a similar experience that I was in the concert, spring concert in the Lindenburg, and it was very happy to see that all the children in town. And thank you for your working there too. And then also there's a pottery making tryouts, and then thank Dr. Cirillo to put out the ads in the school websites and then share the events information with all those parents and students. It was really very successful that in the first 30 minutes, all the spot was rent out, and then they all participate and happy about it too. Okay, next, Dr. Cirillo, do you have reports?
Yes, so just a few things. I too would like to welcome everyone back. I hope you and your families had a great summer. I'm actually extremely excited. I think we are on the cusp of doing some extraordinary things this year. I'm already pleased. I'm not going to say it yet. Next month is our test score presentation, but preliminary numbers of graduation rates are extremely encouraging. So again, kudos to everyone involved in that. Nothing is official yet. And many a times, unfortunately, there are edits that get performed last minute, but next month is our test score presentation, as we are required to do annually. I really do believe that we are all moving this ship in the same direction. We're pulling the rope at the same side, so hopefully we continue to do that, and it will lead to future success for all. A special thank you. We had two groups with so many donations for so many of our children in this community, but two specifically came to me a few weeks ago. It was the United Methodist Church of Leonia and the Rotary Club of the Palisades. So many of our kids, both here at the ECC and at Lindbergh, that are in need of school supplies, backpacks, you name it, were able to receive from anonymous and very generous donors. So publicly, I would like to recognize and thank them, and I too wish the board a successful school year, as do I do with all teachers, students, and staff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Aaron Mandel, do you have any for Dr. reports today?
Nothing to report.
Thank you. So meeting minute approval. So there's two meeting minutes. We're not going to, what it's going to be said. So we're just going to separate, because anyway, I have a motion to consent those two since it was not consented. So may I have a motion to approve the meeting minutes, a special business meeting, July 29th, August 28th, September 12th.
And just for the record, the September 12th will reflect the comment by
Right.
Mr. Shin in deleting the last sentence.
In the condition of changing the last sentence in Mr. Shin's part. May I have a motion?
I make motion.
Second? Second.
Yes.
Do we have to roll call and then just one day?
You don't need to roll.
Okay. All in favor? Aye. No objection? So number two, motion to approve the executive session minutes that was revised for April 17. I'd like to make a motion to approve April 17 executive session minutes. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion passed. So in finance, we have 17 consent agenda to approve. May I have a motion?
I make a motion.
I second. Roll call please.
Ms. Soo Chung,
Yes?
Mr. Anthony Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Rebecca Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Suk Young Park,
Yes.
Mr. Charlie Shin,
Yes.
Mr. William Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Bo Young Yu.
Aye.
Thank you.
So building and ground, we have 3 consent agenda. May I have a motion?
I'll make a
Members?
motion.
Mr. Kim, did you make a motion? Okay. Any second?
Second.
All in favor? No objection? Okay. So personnel, we have 17 consent agenda for approval. May I have a motion to approve 17 consent agenda on the personnel?
Have a quick question.
Sure.
On personnel, number 6 and 17, Dr. Cirillo, would that make an immediate change, or is it still November 1st?
What number, I'm sorry?
Number 6
Number
and
6.
17.
No, because number 17, has to wait until she is released from her district, so I'm going to have to hold that candidate,
Got it. Thank you.
no problem.
Did anybody make a motion or not?
Nothing.
Not yet. May I have a motion?
I make a motion.
Any second? Mr. Kondowski, roll call please.
Ms. Soo Chung,
Yes?
Mr. Anthony Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Rebecca Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Suk Young Park,
Yes.
Mr. Charlie Shin,
Yes.
Mr. William Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Bo Young Yu.
Ms. Chung, before you continue, I would just like to congratulate and formally recognize Ms. Diane Nikoloff. Thank you for your service. Thank you.
Thank you, really, thank you for all your work for the long period of time.
Amazing run of work.
You'll be very missed.
Diane, we're not an audience, please relax, relax.
So, we have 2 consent agenda on the curriculum. We have a motion to approve.
Before we proceed, it is on October 24th, the date for the PSAT.
As you said, right?
Yes.
May I have a motion? I'd like to make the motion to approve curriculum agenda number 1 and 2. Can I have a second?
I second.
Who was
Ms.
first?
Park.
Ms. Park? All in favor? No objection, abstention? Okay. Let's move on. Today's going really fast, actually. Negotiation, Mr. William Kim?
No report.
Policies, Ms. Umi is not here and we don't have actually agenda. So New Jersey School Board Liaison alternate, Ms. Soo-Kyung Park?
Nothing to report.
Okay, so we'll skip County School Board as Mr. Aaron Park is not here. School Safety and Security Committee, Mr. Anthony Kim.
No report.
Okay, so all the business, as I mentioned earlier in the working session, I'd like to make a motion to separate municipal government auditor with school board auditor. May I
I'll
have a
second that.
second?
Are you gonna, sorry, you wanna amend the policy regarding professional services?
Yeah.
Should we draft like a actual revision to the policy and then make it go in a new policy?
I don't know that a policy exists that,
Professional services?
but I think it's more a request that
Yeah.
such be considered.
We just add on.
In political communities, it's going to be hard, but, you know, I'm not saying this is one, I'm just saying. My experience is, we can have a policy, but one doesn't exist, so again, I think it's a very good suggestion.
What? Name, my rec is, if you give us an opportunity to kind of try to draft the policy, that
Sure,
we try to do it
yeah.
later than board.
Why don't I call New Jersey school boards and see if such exists, so we can potentially not be charged yet? Sorry, Aaron, tell Jonathan I said that.
I spoke with Mr. Jonathan Bush prior to this meeting last week. His answer is, he haven't seen it, but has no problem to do it, so I proceed to do it.
We can do it, I think,
Right.
we just ought to do it like in terms of actually having a policy. that-
Sure. Okay, yep. So is it still okay with that condition to make a motion and approve today, or?
I mean, you can do that, but my recommendation is that there be an actual policy that the board be voting, that would
Right.
like actual language, so since we don't have that yet, I would wait till we do. But
Oh,
that's, it's, I mean,
yeah, I didn't see the policy either.
There is no policy.
Can we just create the policy?
well, I
That's
guess,
local policy.
sure, I mean, we can, come on.
Be the trendsetters for once, that's a good move. I like that.
Yeah, sure, you can move to set, to, I guess, have the board set, enact a new board policy that prohibits the auditor from hiring an auditor that's also doing the municipality's audit.
So you mean like,
Be adding onto into the board's bylaws.
so we are actually creating the policy, right? So,
That's,
okay.
we can,
Yeah,
cause I don't have your policies in front of me, so
Okay.
if there is one on there, I don't know which one it is, I don't know how to, but so if you wanna do it right now, I think that's the best I can suggest.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to create our local policy of school, Palisades Board of Education, to prohibit municipal government auditor from school auditor. May I have a motion? May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. William Kim? Do we need to do the roll call? Yeah, roll call please.
So
Mr. Chung.
if we decide today, okay, so that policy will continue
Yeah.
permanently, right?
Right,
Until the new board says they don't want that policy.
thank you, Siri.
Sorry.
So then what's gonna happen with the current auditor? Are you
No,
replacing it or?
we don't have conflict
Ya la
now.
auditoría
Last week
del
we
town,
did.
que la usen para
Last
acá, que
year
se ha
we did.
separado.
2022, 21 we did.
Rebecca, we're
El
dealing
mismo
with a
Cali que sea
small,
auditoría, para que quite ese
concern
punto, que no tenga que ver con el
internally,
gobierno y la que se ha separado.
and I applaud Ms. Chung, I think this is a very good suggestion, I don't think it's a bad idea. It's just going to be hard to enforce it going forward, but I'm not saying we shouldn't do this. Let's do it, and then let's worry about the
Yep,
next problem when we get there.
Isn't it common sense that the Board of Education, the auditor should be different from the town's auditor? Is it common sense? Any Board of Education member with common sense would know that, so why do we worry about that?
thank you, Mr. Shin. Alright, so, may I, Mr. Kondowski, roll call please?
Ms. Sue Chung,
Yes?
Mr. Anthony Kim,
Abstain.
Ms. Rebecca Lee,
Yes.
Ms. Suk-Young Park,
Yes.
Mr. Charlie Shin,
Yes.
Mr. William Kim,
Yes.
Ms. Bo-Young Yu,
Aye.
motion passes.
That's good.
Thank you. So next, new business, the motion.
I would like to make a recommendation that the board consider the student representative, to be reflected from, unfortunately, it's not going to be at the September meeting, but from September through June, and repeat that and amend our existing policy.
I'll make a
And-
motion to reflect Dr. Cirillo's recommendation.
I second. All in favor?
Yes.
Aye.
Any objection? By the way, so the motion passed, then, are you going to address this issue to Mr. Garcia?
So I'm going to look more specifically at the policy, which I'm doing as we speak. There is a sentence that speaks to the selected representatives shall be appointed by the junior, senior high school principal. Again, these are already adopted by our board. I can't just arbitrarily change it.
Right?
But what I can tell you is, there are qualifications, there are not many students that probably wanna hang out with us monthly. Some might, and I applaud them for that, but I also know that this is a very, important role, one that can be the voice of our students in our community, not just at the junior, senior high school. So I will speak to Mr. Garcia, I will keep the board updated, and I'm hopeful that we can amend whatever needs to be amended next
Okay.
month, and hopefully have a student sit with us going forward.
Okay. So, after speaking with Mr. Garcia, and please share this with the board members, so we can look up this, well, I looked it up, but we need to share and get their opinions as well too,
Of course.
for board
So-
members.
If this is the case, then why was there an election before? I don't understand how,
I think,
it was an appointment, but then there was an election
yep, so,
before,
so the election, I think last year was more to gauge interest of students. And you don't wanna appoint someone that doesn't wanna be here. So there was an essay requirement from Mr. Garcia last year. There was actually a survey, I believe, issued through, SurveyMonkey or Google Classroom, one or the other. And we did have data. I did have results that warranted our former student rep, to be with us. So I wanna make sure, and I'll solicit information from other districts. We don't need to, be the first to the race all the time. But let's see what is best practice. Again, we have to ensure that if we're doing something, it's not breaching what's here. But I'm sure we can come to common ground on what is best moving forward.
I mean, if we are picking one representative, I would like the board of, the schools, of the grades, to be invited specifically also.
Repeat that, I'm sorry.
They have each grade has their elected.
Class
students,
officers.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's completely different from the student rep to the board. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send this out. Yeah, I'll send this out to the board members, and then the idea is to have one, it could be multiple student reps, but class officers sometimes, from my experience, could reflect up to 5 to 10 individuals.
Yeah, so they could take turns.
That's something we can discuss further.
Yeah. Let's discuss where, you mean next month?
Next meeting, or before next meeting, we will have discussion on this, I'm
For
sure.
board members, be aware, please look up the policy, you can
I'll
just.
share this.
Oh, okay, thank you. So the policy come up by the keyword student rep,
I just did a quick search on student representative
Okay.
for the Board of Education on our website.
okay? Thank you. Any other agendas you want to be added and discussed in new business? Dr. Shir, are you okay? Move
I
on?
feel wonderful, thank you.
Glad to
Thank you.
hear that, thank you. So, May I have a motion to close our regular session and open to the public?
Make the motion.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No objection. So now the meeting is open to the public and each speaker has 3 minutes and please state your name and address. Mrs. Carney?
Hi, how are you? Pretty Cerny, I'm the negotiations chair for our association. The board has stated that there is nothing new to report. To be clear, that this is the current status of our negotiations. There has been no progress. We are currently working without a contract. The board's last salary offer was below the county average. The unfair labor practice charges that we, the Palisades Park Education Association, filed last March against the Palisades Park Board of Education is still open. Those charges have not been closed because negotiations have stalled and the board is still not negotiating in good faith. Ground rules were broken by the Board of Ed, and that was the one reason the ULP was filed. The Palisades Park negotiation team has never broken the ground rules agreed upon by both parties at the first meeting. And once we entered into mediation through the state, those original ground rules no longer applied. The board is trying to rewrite our entire contract with 69-page proposal. No other districts in our area are making any of these demands. This staff deserves a contract immediately. We have committed our careers to Palisades Park, but if this doesn't get settled, many of us will leave to go work at other districts where we will be better paid and respected. There is a mediation meeting scheduled for October 8th, which we are very much looking forward to. It would be nice if the board came with their proposal and not the proposal written by their lawyers, so that we could get work done and get this contract done. As we start this new school year, we want nothing more than to settle a fair and equitable contract, please.
Thank you. As the President of Board of Education and I actually negotiation team and we have been working through the summer regarding these negotiations. But most of parts that you stated, I disagree, but I'd like to defer that to our attorney because I don't like to break the ground rule, so.
There were delays at the beginning, in January. Then the board came together and offered meeting dates and proposals. The association, instead of coming to the table and accepting or listening to proposals and having good faith negotiations, decided to engage in gamesmanship by filing unfair practice charges, by declaring impasse before any legitimate negotiations had taken place, and have since refused, during the first mediation, literally refused to have a discussion with us about the board's proposals. Since that time, there has been some productive meetings, especially at the beginning of the summer, but then when the association was asked for additional information, there was dead silence for, I think, like over a month. So we are also very much looking forward to the next mediation, and we are very much eager to get this contract negotiated and to have a new agreement put in place.
Thank you. Any other participant? Ms. Peppers?
Ladies Papoter for 4 Glen Avenue. I have a question for Dr. Cirillo. I know we are in a very situation right now as of statewide for our student. Every day it's getting more and more like we don't have a space to put it. I know you, in the past you submit a referendum that didn't go through because political issue in this town, unfortunately. Have you ever think about to redo it, like a referendum to see if this time that we don't have some of those people who was blocking that in town to submit again and see if it's passed? That's my question for Dr. Cirillo. And I have a comment as a parent, and like the contract with the teacher. I know you guys negotiate and we don't know the whole detail because it's internal, but for the best of us as a president, as a parent, we need this to get resolved. Because I know it's a lot of lack of teacher why? Like where I work is like, we need like 6 teachers that is empty there. So it's really worrying me that we lost our teacher and we have to be having no teacher for our kid. And also, you know, it can give it peace for them to be more like focused in what they need to focus. So I really, as a parent, I know you guys are working hard in that, but I want to see final result. I want to see this getting ending for the best of the teacher, for the best of the kid, because this is important. This is very important to finalize this and make them working and get what they deserve. I don't know everything, all the information, unfortunately, as a parent, but I've been coming here and I really want to see that they get what they deserve, please. And if Dr. Cirillo could answer me about the referendum, because this is something that is really worrying me, because I see that we are talking about going to use some of those rooms from here and there, and it's getting. I know more duplex, more houses is built, and we have, unfortunately, the same school. And it's unfair for the student who is in there, and it's unfair for the teacher to have 36, 39 kids in one class. It's very, very unfair. And I know it's not, you know, your fault, Cirillo, but we need to find a solution for that. And I know you tried hard in the past. Maybe now we do it again and see what happens.
So clearly, referendums are something that the whole community needs to accept, be behind, and want. I applaud you for speaking on behalf of it. I would like nothing more than to take all of our efforts from the past to continue those conversations and move forward. I also know we're living in times where financial concerns exist for everyone. So we have to balance the two. And ultimately, any referendum has to make sense for all community residents. So the benefit would again have to include that of seniors and not just our students, because they will be voting on something. So I think a committee should be created to look at this. I think I can tell you wholeheartedly, we have applications sitting in Trenton as we speak on submissions for additions, hopefully with grant money that does not cost taxpayers exorbitant numbers. But yes, I would be more than happy to say, let's do a referendum. What I don't want to do is put all the energy into a referendum and not have the right people supporting it. I think that's critical. So I will speak to our board president, I will speak to the vice president, and I'm hopeful that we can create a committee. Referendums can go out, I believe, 6 times a year. We just saw one last week in some districts. The good news is, the last time it was a very, very large number. And a lot of those items, slowly but surely, have been chipped away. Fortunately, we've received money from the federal government. Unfortunately, it was at a cost of many lives. COVID money. It doesn't happen all the time. But that money went to repair many of our infrastructure needs, HVAC related. Obviously, that's no longer needed in a future referendum. But I'd be more than happy to talk more about this with the board.
I know we cannot go back and forth, but if we continue like that, our house is gonna lose value. Because if I come around to buy a house in this town and I see the quality of the school, I will not buy a house here. So let's put it that way. Our house is losing value because
I
the
don't
school
want
and
to
the
play ping pong
condition.
either. I'm gonna lose. I know.
We lose.
I know I'm gonna lose, but I'm gonna tell you, your house is not losing value.
well, if they see the way of the school are here,
With the
people who have
constraints,
school are not gonna come, if the
Maris,
student is gonna
honestly,
be like in a good condition
I
to
don't
be
disagree
here,
with you.
so.
I'm not gonna argue, I'm not gonna disagree with you. Are there schools that are in better shape? Absolutely. And how do we fix it? We have to invest a lot of money. We have to make sure everyone is on board. I'm not opposed to it, but many of people might be. So let's make sure that first we identify the most important projects. We're trying to do that slowly but surely. It's easier to get a whole lot of money and fix it all at one time. But that's a major impact already in troubling times for people. So, again, I will give you my word, we will follow up on this.
Thank you.
I
How many
also
years?
think that population statistics in this town also play a part in how this is all going. Because we have an older retired population that is not as, I don't know, invested in the schools. So there is a little bit of that going on in town too. We have to acknowledge that and somehow figure out a way to convince the senior population that it is important to better our schools.
Right.
Or
So the
not
way
better
is,
our
so
schools,
the way is to
invest in our
encourage
schools.
more senior programs in our buildings, to have recreation centers available for our students, also for our seniors after hours. That's not something that's new, it's not like this light bulb that went off, it happens in other places, it's not that hard, but it's a very expensive undertaking.
Right. How many years ago, I remember last referendum what didn't pass? It was like
So
six
7 years ago maybe, I could double check, probably 7, no, it's
I-
more than
I-
5.
Five,
At that
five.
time, I felt a little disappointed just because at the time I was not a board member, I was just a parents and residents. But I felt that school needed to approach to the community more by working and cooperating with municipal governments and politicians as well.
They were involved,
They are, right?
they were.
Yeah, but I think there has to be more time need to be spent and more consensus has to be on this before we reach out to the residents and community. Because they are pretty strong in their opinion regarding the tax money rate.
I believe it was
So-
in 2017, so we're talking
Yeah.
about 7 years ago. Hey, I'll go.
So now if we think about it, then I hope we can really work closely and more thoroughly working with the municipal governing body. There's Councilman Seok-Jun-min here, so you are here, so I hope you could deliver our meeting, this conversation regarding referendums to your mayor council as well. Thank you. Any other audience participation? Mr. Longo?
Yes, Peter Longo, 60 Central Boulevard. I'm just again concerned because I'm speaking more as now a grandfather of a student who attends the school here. And I'm concerned that when I was a teacher as well, for many years, we went through the same thing where we never had our contract. I went through it many times, and it was very frustrating as a teacher. Our school's morale was low, and I really don't want to see that continue here. Teachers do more than people think. Everybody says, oh, they have the summer off. They go home and they grade papers and they work during the summer, and they don't make the greatest salary, okay? And now it's even worse because years ago, at least when I retired, my benefits are excellent. These teachers do not get that. So I empathize with them because I know how much money they spend on their own to decorate classrooms, especially I think in the elementary and the early childhood center. Even though I did that in the high school too, I spent my own money, but I know elementary school teachers really spend a lot of time. And it concerns me because I feel like if the morale is low, even though they're trying their best, it affects the children. And I don't think there's a need for that. I want them to get what they deserve financially and I want it to get done. I don't want this to drag on like it's been doing. I went through this many times. That's number one. Number two, my grandson is going to the preschool. So far, I'm very pleased with what I see. I'm happy, with the class size, with the teachers, with the aides. I think he's getting a lot of good help. What concerns me, though, I hear that some people were not able to enter in, I think, the 4-year-old class. And what concerns me is that they were supposed to have room for them, and now they're in the process of, I think they're doing something at Lindbergh, I'm not sure, maybe, And I would like to know, why did that happen? I thought that it should have happened before, so in September, everything would have been prepared. And I'm concerned next year when my grandson is 4 years old, what will happen then? I still think all the preschools should be in this building. I would think it would be more beneficial for the teachers as well as the program. But you have, I think, 2 classes, are down at where is it, Commercial Avenue, which is not quite a distance, but it is a distance. And then you have, I think, 2 are gonna be at Lindbergh. Then I hear a rumor about something underneath the library. I heard that at the board meeting, in the Barrow Hall meeting. So it concerns me for next year, even though it's a year away. I think we have to be concerned, and what is going to happen for next year? I'm curious about that.
So I could speak to the new Christian Academy, though, something that is strongly encouraged by the state. In order to receive the preschool money, they want you to partner with local providers. The idea is not for us to put them out of business.
Right.
So we're partnering with them. Those are children from Palisades Park. Those are students that live in this community that would have been paying tuition to that location. Now they're technically receiving the same type of instruction our students are receiving. Peter, you know this all too well, being a public educator. There's just no room to put them here. So it's either I continue to defer them and put them on a wait list, or we become creative and we say, hey, we have this empty space at Lindbergh. What do we do with it? Locker rooms are not being used. So fortunately, the board approved a recommendation to convert the 2 locker rooms into classrooms.
But are there windows in that?
There will be windows.
Okay.
Would I like anything more than to have everyone in one place? Of course. But in a perfect world, Palisades Park is not existent just yet.
No.
So the reality is, the rumor you heard, that's one of the applications in Trenton.
Yeah.
The fingers are crossed that we can create 6 to 8 classrooms under the parking lot. It's easy for me to just go out and say to the community, hey, we need about $7 million, you guys pay. I think they might appreciate it a little bit more if we can get subsidized upwards of 60%, and you only have to come up with the difference. Again, I don't live here, it doesn't affect my taxes, but I think it's an easier pill to swallow when you don't have to pay for the whole thing.
Glen Avenue. What is the estimate, like, when do we expect Lindbergh to be done? Only
So it's a
because
great question.
we need a playground there also, you can't have
Part of the
4-year-olds
project. It's
without
part
a
of the
playground.
project. In order to have classroom, I'm sorry, finish your question.
No, well, that's it, you can't have 4-year-olds without a playground.
You're
So
not
I
allowed to have a
previously-
preschool program
Right,
without a
without-
playground.
Yeah,
So
so
part
I've
of,
seen,
we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone by putting classrooms there. Because the preschool money is going to pay for a playground. Because it's
Which
not just
they-
for preschool, why can't 1st and 2nd graders play on a playground? They will, they can, but I can't put it there until I have classrooms. The timeline is something, and he'll tell you. I know people get paid by the hour, we don't, okay? Architects, they're not here tonight, so I'll say what I want. I'm just waiting, and then it's the contractors, and I want weekly meetings, and I wish it was done yesterday. Unfortunately, those areas had asbestos, there had to be an abatement. I can't just put kids in rooms that we know we have problems in. So we have to make sure they're safe. They had to be ensured that their air quality was safe, that there are no concerns going forward to put children in those rooms. That building is the oldest in our district. With that being said, I know publicly, and he'll assure you of this, they wanna tell me it's December 1st. I'm allowed to say December 1st. I told them it should have been done already. I told them November 1st is what I'm shooting for. Is it gonna happen? I don't know. I know demolition happened, but there was also some change orders along the way, because when you knock down a wall on a 100-year-old building, you don't know what's behind it. And that's what we're dealing with as we speak. But I will go on record and tell you, you will see substantial work in the coming weeks. And the goal is, my goal is still November 1st. I don't know if that's realistic as we are approaching October in a couple of days.
This is I just wanna add something, is it okay?
Yeah, sure, what'd you have for dinner?
Okay. What concerns me too, and I just thought of it as you were saying demolition is happening. If you recall, years ago, we had the elevator put in our school.
At the high school?
At the high school, and with all that work, many of us, even though we were told we were lying, I was one of the people that had problems because of all the dust and whatever was going on. And we had, a lawsuit, and, fortunately we won, but the point was, it affected our health at the time. We had rashes, we had breathing problems, etc. Are they taking some precautions for the teachers at Lindbergh so that doesn't happen? I know they're kind of isolated.
So that's one of the good things, and I appreciate you bringing it up. It's somewhat secluded from our academic or instructional space, but there are some classrooms on the ground level.
Yeah.
Kids may be passing by they do pass by to go to the cafeteria, so let's call it what it is. The reality is air quality testing is part of this project throughout. So it's not like we're just going to wait till someone has a rash and then say stop work. We want to make sure we are being very precautionary in this.
Because many of us I had pneumonia twice because of it, and, there were other situations. One person had to leave, employment here because of that. And so I'm just concerned that could happen again with the teachers there, especially, it doesn't matter who they are, and kids get it too.
100%.
So,
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other audience like to speak? If not, may I have a motion to close the audience session, and we are moving into the executive session. And you could remain until our executive session ends, but we don't know how long it's going to take.
No formal action will be taken when we return. If you'd like to get a head start on the weekend. No, it's only Thursday. It's Wednesday? You could tell,
Well, like,
it might be the weekend for me. It might be the weekend for me. Have Peter keep on coming to meetings, look what happens.
maybe I'll start coming more.
You should, Pete.
Maybe you calling out tomorrow.
How'd you know?
I don't know.
And Friday.
We got more.
Oh,
We need a
excuse
motion.
me.
may I have a motion to close our meeting?
No, no.
Adjourn-
Close audience.
close, I did actually, did I?
Yeah, we don't have a motion.
They have a motion to, close our public participation and then moving into the, executive session.
I have a motion to close the audience.
Any second?
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No objection?
By the way, the vote was in 2019, not 2020.